In a shocking twist, A-list actor George Clooney is facing fierce backlash from some of the biggest names in entertainment, including Joy Behar. But what exactly did Clooney say to spark such outrage? From controversial political comments to accusations of ruining Hollywood's future, the drama is heating up fast. Now, Behar and others are demanding Clooney stay out of politics, and the fallout could shake Hollywood to its core. Stay tuned as we reveal why the media is turning on one of its biggest stars and what it means for the future of celebrity influence. In 2024, something unexpected started to unfold within the media and Hollywood, a shift that saw some of the industry's most influential figures turning against George Clooney, a superstar who had long been seen as untouchable. What many of us didn't foresee was the media and Hollywood's growing disillusionment with Clooney, especially as public opinion around celebrities and their influence has been changing. For years, Clooney had enjoyed a pristine reputation as an A-list actor, but now the Hollywood bubble, which often protects its own, is starting to shy away from him. This is something that could signal bigger changes within the industry. For those who followed my opinions on George Clooney over the years, it's no secret that I've had my criticisms of the actor. It's not just about his acting or public persona, but more specifically about his views on how the entertainment industry should operate and how celebrities should conduct themselves in the real world. I've always believed that celebrities, especially those at the top, should refrain from diving into politics and using their platforms to influence the masses on political issues. This is a stance I continue to stand by, as I feel it disrupts the entertainment industry's purpose and often creates unnecessary drama. In fact, I believe this could be the beginning of a shift where more actors and actresses start distancing themselves from political statements or affiliations, as it's proving to be a poor business move. The backlash isn't just something Clooney has experienced in isolation. This is happening to many celebrities who've used their fame to voice political opinions. It's becoming clear that this growing divide could have long-term repercussions for those involved. The public is beginning to push back, and Hollywood's bubble of protection is starting to crack. The shift against George Clooney has gained traction with public figures like Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar of The View, who are now vocal in their criticism of him. This is a significant development. Clooney, once considered a beloved figure in Hollywood, is now being pointed at by these influential personalities, further highlighting the internal friction that's brewing in the media landscape. While we've seen some of this tension already with Goldberg's comments a few days ago, it's now Behar's turn to weigh in, and she's not holding back. This situation is a clear example of how the tide has turned. Celebrities who thought they were immune to criticism, especially those with strong political stances, are now finding themselves in the crosshairs of the very people they thought would support them. And as the media begins to turn on Clooney, we're witnessing the first major cracks in Hollywood's facade, where even the most respected figures are being scrutinized. George Clooney should have seen this backlash coming. When you're at the top, especially in Hollywood, it's easy to assume that your fame and influence can protect you from criticism. But as we're seeing, this is no longer the case, particularly when you have celebrities like Clooney who make bold statements that don't sit well with the public. Right now, Clooney is experiencing a lot of what other stars are going through: the blame game. Many actors are under fire for their actions, and some of them, frankly, deserve it. In Clooney's case, his comments about how the public should look up to celebrities over regular, everyday people is not only out of touch, but it's also offensive. This kind of sentiment is hard to justify, especially when you're speaking from a position of privilege where your every need is taken care of and your opinions are amplified simply because of your fame. But where this situation really takes a turn is when we consider the broader climate within the entertainment industry and the media. Hollywood has been losing its grip on the general public as people begin to push back against the ideologies that many celebrities have been pushing. The result is that figures like George Clooney are now facing fierce criticism from within the very industry that once supported them. Joy Behar, one of the most prominent voices from The View, has made her stance clear. She's calling out Clooney and others like him, warning that celebrities at his level need to stay away from politics, as their influence can actually be more harmful than helpful. Behar didn't hold back in her comments, stating that Clooney's involvement in politics only made things worse. She advised him to stay out of political matters moving forward, as his actions didn't benefit anyone. According to Behar, rather than helping the situation, Clooney's statements and involvement in political discourse only altered the outcome, making things worse. She also expressed frustration with how the actions of celebrities like Clooney have shaped the state of the world, leaving the public feeling disappointed and fearful about what the next few years might look like. For Behar, there's no sympathy for Clooney's position, as she believes that his influence has contributed to a negative outcome. What's particularly telling here is Behar's blunt opinion on Clooney's actions. She sees them as irredeemable. She doesn't think he should be excused or made to feel sorry for himself, and more importantly, she believes he should now stay out of politics entirely. It's clear from her remarks that Behar sees Clooney as a part of the problem, and this is a sentiment that's echoed by a growing number of individuals within the entertainment industry who are beginning to see the dangers of celebrities meddling in politics. Clooney, once celebrated for his humanitarian work and political engagement, is now being called out for the very things that once made him so admired, showing how quickly the tides can turn in the world of celebrity influence. What we're witnessing right now feels like a societal shift, one that is incredibly disheartening, especially when it comes to the treatment of women and the erosion of common sense. The blame, according to many, rests on the shoulders of certain celebrities who have opened up a can of worms with their comments and actions. This past summer, things took a drastic turn, and George Clooney was among those who contributed to this unnecessary shift. While his past actions have garnered praise, his more recent remarks have sparked a growing backlash that many cannot overlook. The reality is Clooney's influence in this matter is undeniable, and his words have led to the rise of troubling sentiments in the public. Misogyny and sexism are becoming more prominent, with many in the country now feeling vindicated in their toxic beliefs. For someone like Joy Behar, who has long worked to promote truth and fairness, this is a deeply offensive and upsetting development. She feels personally betrayed, not just as a talk show host, but as a human being watching her world shift in a dangerous direction. Behar's concern lies not only with what George Clooney said, but with the larger repercussions of those statements. She believes that his involvement in the political discourse has done far more harm than good. His influence, she argues, has indirectly enabled an uptick in sexism and misogyny across the country, and it's now becoming an accepted part of the social fabric. Behar sees the growing normalization of these harmful behaviors as something that will continue to spread, especially over the next 4 years. It's a sobering thought, and one that leaves her visibly shaken. She expresses deep concern for the future, fearing that the public's acceptance of these views will only worsen. What's particularly frustrating for Behar is that Clooney's comments were not just damaging to his own reputation, but they contributed to a wider negative shift in the political and cultural landscape. She feels as though Clooney swayed the outcome in a direction that now has her and others in a defensive position. What seemed like a political stand at the time has now become a source of regret for Behar. She feels that not only did Clooney make a mistake, but now others are pointing fingers at her and those who once supported him. The blame is being placed on the very people who tried to stand by Clooney's right to speak out, and for Behar, this feels like the most egregious outcome of all. In addition to these personal frustrations, Behar hints at a larger shift happening behind the scenes at a BC in the Walt Disney Company. There's a concerted effort to reframe the narrative, particularly in how The View and its panel operate. Behar suggests that BC executives, under the influence of Disney's Bob Iger, are looking to add a new voice to the show, one that might offer a more balanced or alternative perspective to the current lineup. This, in turn, could be part of a broader strategy to reshape the public's perception of Hollywood and its celebrities, particularly those who have become outspoken in political matters. The attempt to reframe the situation signals that there's more at play here than just personal disputes. It's also a calculated move by the powers that be in the entertainment industry, hoping to regain control over the message being sent to the public. There's been a noticeable shift in the media, particularly with The View, and it's one that feels out of touch with what audiences truly want. Suddenly there's this push to bring in different perspectives, as if the mere addition of a new voice or an alternate opinion will fix the issues the show is facing. But this move feels like a superficial attempt to regain relevance, and many believe that audiences are too smart to fall for it. Changing the host lineup or introducing different opinions isn't going to magically solve the problems the show is experiencing. In fact, it could actually backfire, making their message seem even more disingenuous. Viewers can tell when there's a concerted effort to create the illusion of diversity and opinion without genuinely addressing the core issues, and this type of shallow change is unlikely to fool anyone. The real issue, according to critics, is that the show itself has lost its credibility and direction. If BC really wanted to revitalize The View, they should completely overhaul the format. Some suggest firing the current hosts and starting fresh with a completely new show, perhaps rebranding it under a different name like A New View to signal a genuine shift. The ratings for The View have been declining for quite some time, and this desperate move to bring in a new voice or perspective feels like an afterthought, an attempt to reverse a trend that's already deeply ingrained. But at this point, a total reinvention might be the only way to even hope for a ratings rebound. Behar's frustration also extends to the accusations that The View is pushing an agenda or misleading the public. She defends the show's integrity, stating that they've always been truthful and haven't used their platform to deceive anyone. The claim that they've been lying or intentionally pushing false narratives is, in Behar's view, a harmful and false narrative itself. This is an attempt to silence a voice that, according to Behar, has been providing valuable and honest perspectives to the public. She believes the claim that they had an agenda is a baseless accusation that needs to be shut down immediately. At the heart of Behar's frustration is the impact of Hollywood's A-list stars on the public discourse. She believes that too many celebrities, including Clooney, have used their platforms in ways that have hurt the future of the industry and society at large. She insists that the middle class, the regular people, are the ones who truly deserve the chance to speak up and deliver honest truths, not the out-of-touch A-listers who have distanced themselves from the realities that the average person faces. It's the relatability of voices like hers and Whoopi Goldberg, she argues, that makes them more credible and worthy of a platform, not the opinions of celebrities who live in a different world. And as for Clooney, Behar doesn't feel a shred of sympathy for the actor's current plight. She remains resolute in her belief that his comments about the general public were offensive and out of line. His involvement in political discourse, especially when it comes to matters he clearly doesn't understand, has only compounded the situation, and Behar is clear in her stance Clooney's words have real-world consequences, and she won't apologize for calling him out on them. To wrap things up, George Clooney's comments about how celebrities should be seen as the primary source of truth and that everyday people in their local communities are less trustworthy have sparked major outrage. Essentially, he's sending a message that people who aren't in Hollywood or part of the celebrity elite are irrelevant, which many view as deeply condescending and out of touch with reality. This attitude is what has led to the growing backlash against him, especially from within the very industry he once considered an ally. This situation serves as another example of the woke culture eventually turning on itself. Just like the Joker's line in The Dark Knight, when the chips are down, even those at the top will find themselves consumed by the very system they helped create. Clooney's public fall from grace is a clear example of how the woke movement, when taken to extremes, ultimately leads to infighting, with even its most prominent figures coming under fire. The overall message here is that celebrities, especially when it comes to their political views or societal commentary, need to be called out for their out-of-touch attitudes. While everyone is entitled to their opinions, it's clear that Hollywood's increasingly political stance has not resonated well with the public. It's time for a shift away from idolizing these figures and refocusing on real-world issues that directly impact people's everyday lives. The entertainment industry, in its attempt to push political ideologies, has hurt its own relevance, and this need for self-reflection within Hollywood is long overdue. The fallout from Clooney's statements, along with the tensions at The View, shows that these issues are far from over. There's plenty more to unpack, especially as the public, and even those within the media, continue to react to what's going on. As always, we welcome a range of opinions in the comments because the conversation isn't just about one side, it's about a deeper reflection on how the entertainment industry is changing. If you enjoyed the discussion today, make sure to give the video a thumbs up to show support and stay tuned for more updates.